Hi guys, it's Keith from the Keith Speaking Academy, and welcome to part 2 of this video on the present tenses. Last time, part 1, we looked at the present simple and present continuous, and today it's the present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous. And I'll be showing you how all 4 present tenses are connected and how you can use them in IELTS speaking. Let's do it. Okay, let's move on. Oh, but first, you know, I usually drink tea in the morning, but today I'm drinking water. Get it? Why did I say I usually drink tea? That's right, because it's a habit I have. But why did I say today I'm drinking water? Because it's temporary, it's only today, exactly. Now, after that refreshing sip of water, let's move on to number 3, the present perfect. Now, this is a present tense, it's the present perfect, but it has a connection to the past, right? And there are 4 basic ways we can use this. So make a note, and I'll go through each one. We can talk about how long you've done something. We can talk about a present result. Something happened in the past and has a result in the present. We can talk about experiences, life experiences. And we can talk about something called unfinished time. Let me do them one by one. Let's begin with how long. Okay, so you'll remember I said I live in Santander. I came here actually in 2017, so I have lived here since 2017. Or I have lived here for 3 years. Other examples, I have worked here for 3 years. Or I've worked here since 2018. I'll explain in a moment. Last example, I've studied Chinese for 10 years. 10 years, such a long time. Maybe longer, actually. No, I've studied Chinese for almost, 18 years. Holy moly. What a maya. So, how long? We can talk about, so when you began something in the past, it continues up until now, and then you tell people how long, right? So questions in IELTS may, again, when people say, where do you live? What do you do? What do you study? You can say, I live in blah, blah, blah. I have lived here since blah, blah, blah. Or I study Chinese at the university. I have studied there for 3 years. Hopefully not for 18 years. They would kick you out if you haven't graduated. Right? So let's first of all have a look at the form of the present perfect. So we would use the subject, I, you, he, have or has, plus the past participle, right? I have lived here for 2 years. He has broken his leg. Poor thing. I've visited Paris. So notice, again, in spoken English, we usually do the contraction, right? I have, I've. I have lived, I've lived. Say that with me. I've lived. He's lived. He's lived here for 10 years. Nice. Notice the for becomes for 10 years. He's lived here for 10 years. I've visited Paris. Now that's interesting because it's I've visited. There's no break, right? I've visited Paris. I've visited Paris. Lovely. Good. In the negative, again, the subject with has or have, not, plus the participle, the past participle. Putting in the contractions, right? I haven't worked here long. Have not, I haven't worked here long. She hasn't broken her arm. Hooray! I was so worried about her. She hasn't broken her arm, after all. She hasn't visited London. She hasn't visited London. Okay? When we talk about those experiences of I haven't visited London, we sometimes say never. Not or never. I've never visited London. Or I haven't visited London yet. Maybe I will in the future. So that's the form. Before we look at the second use, just a quick word about for and since, right? When we're talking about how long, when do we use since? A clue, I have lived here since 2017. Correct, good. It's for a point in time, 2017. May, August, July, last week. I've lived here since last week. I've lived here since January. I've lived here since point in time. For, on the other hand, I've lived here for 3 years. Good. It's the duration, right? 3 years, 2 months, 5 hours. I've lived here for 5 hours. What? Really? Seriously? Yes, I've just moved in. I've just opened the door. I've literally lived here for 5 hours. Of course, that's not true. I've lived here since May last year. So I've lived here for just over a year. Actually, that's true. In this flat. We used to live in another flat in Santander. Okay, good. Let's move on to number 2. The present result. So when something in the past happens, like you broke your leg, and then the result in the present is I can see you have a cast on your leg, you're using crutches, and I go, oh dear, you've broken your leg. Or you say, oh dear, I've broken my leg. And we can see the result here now. Okay. Now then, with that, you never identify the time. You don't say, I've broken my leg last week. No, right? If you put the time, it's the past simple. I broke my leg last week. But look, I've broken my leg. You're emphasizing, look now, the impact on the present, right? Now, we can use this in IELTS. For example, especially in part 3, where they may ask you, how has something changed in recent years? Or how has this had an impact on something, right? And if you want to show the result now, for example, we might say, we can see the government has made a U-turn. We can see Donald Trump has made a mistake. We can see COVID has had a big impact on us. So that cue of we can see is showing the result in the present tense. So you're probably going to use the present perfect. We can see Trump has made a mistake. We can see COVID has had a big impact on us. Okay. Of course, there are different tenses you can use, but the present perfect gives you that something in the past with a present result. You're emphasizing the present result. Okay. We also use present perfect to talk about experiences in our life. So you may get the same tense in the question, right? Have you ever cooked? Have you ever run a marathon? Have you ever done this or that, right? Yes, I have cooked. Yes, I have run a marathon. You can see it's a life experience with using the present perfect. Or interestingly, the question, what new hobby would you like to try? Well, I've never tried parachuting. Or I've never tried painting, or I've never tried sailing, so I might try that, right? Talk about things you haven't done, and therefore you want to try something new, right? Also, present perfect. I haven't been sailing. I've never tried sailing, so I would like to have a go. And one of the most common one is talking about places you have visited. I've been to Paris. I've been to London. I've been to New Delhi. When you say that, again, don't say when. So you can't say, I've been to London last week. No. I went to London last week, right? Present perfect is just to show the experience. Like, hey, I've been to London, right? What's important is not when, it's the experience, right? Hey, I can speak English. I've been to London. I can speak a bit of French. I've been to Paris. Right? That kind of thing. Good. Let's move on. The next one is unfinished time. I usually drink tea, but now I'm drinking water. Nice one. You are learning very quickly. Good. Unfinished time. Unfinished time is basically when we're talking about a period of time that has not finished. Like today, I've eaten a lot today. I've had 2 cups of water. I've had 1 cup of coffee today, because today is not finished. Yesterday, I had a cup of coffee, but today I've had 2 cups of coffee. That unfinished time, we can use the present perfect. For example, I haven't done any sport this month. Now that would be great, right? If somebody asks you, do you often do sport? Yes, I do. I usually do. I usually play football, but I haven't done any sport this month. This month hasn't finished, right? I haven't done any sport this month because I've broken my leg. Ta-da! Right, good. What about the question, do you like traveling? Yes, I love traveling, but I haven't traveled at all this summer. It's now August. Summer hasn't finished. I haven't traveled at all this summer because of COVID-19. I don't think it's very safe. Right? Can you see how we're developing the answers? We can use different tenses to create different meanings. How often do you eat fast food? Well, usually I eat quite a lot of fast food, right? But I haven't been to a restaurant in the last 3 months. The last 3 months is unfinished time. We're still within those 3 months, right? I haven't been to a restaurant. Notice the past participle of go can be been. It can be gone if you're still there, right? He has gone to London. He's still there. But he has been to London means he went and came back. I have not been to a restaurant these last 3 months. Present perfect, unfinished time. Excellent. So remember, it's all about creating the meaning. Let's move on. Okay, let's move into the 4th tense, the present perfect continuous. Great. Now let me take you back to the beginning of the video. And you'll remember when we looked at the question, where do you live? Right? I said you could actually say, I live in Santander. I am living in Santander. And then my family in England will be happy. I have lived in Santander since 2017. Or I have been living in Santander since 2017. They're all correct. So what's the difference between the last two? I have lived here or I have been living here. Well, they're very, very similar. The difference is very, very small, actually. And I think you can use both perfectly fine. The slight difference is the first. I have lived in Santander for 3 years. The emphasis is on the action, have lived. I have lived in Santander for 3 years. I have been living in Santander for 3 years. The emphasis is more on the time, right? For 3 years. I've been living here for 3 years. Of course I know the city, right? Somebody comes to visit and says, do you know any good restaurants? Of course I do. I've been living here for 3 years. Emphasis on the time. The present perfect continuous is probably the better tense to use. Although you can use both. I think you can interchange both. But if you want to emphasize the time, present perfect continuous, right? Imagine you're waiting for a friend, right? Then like an hour later, they turn up and say, oh, I'm so sorry I'm late. And you go, come on, I've been waiting for an hour, right? If you say, I've waited for an hour, it doesn't have the same impact, right? You want to emphasize the time. Oi, I've been waiting for 3 bloody hours. Pardon my French, right? So this is what I mean about creating meaning. You can create a feeling by using the present perfect continuous, right? Let's have a look. So you're the same with when the questions, what do you study? Where do you work? Well, I work as a teacher. I've been working as a teacher for 20 years, right? Showing off your experience. For 20 years, I've been working for a teacher. I've not been working for a teacher. I've been working as a teacher for 20 years, right? Okay, let's nail the form. So we have the subject, that's me, not me, it's I, you, he, she. Have or has with been, not Mr. Bean or the bean that you eat, but bean, B-E-E, B-E. What am I doing? B-E-E-N, B-E-E-N, B-E-E-N. So if that's not confused you, I don't know what it has. Subject plus have or has plus been plus verb plus ing. Okay? For example, I have been living here for 2 years. He has been driving since he was 18 years old. Right? The negative, subject plus have or has, not been plus the verb ing. Right? Again with the contraction. I haven't been living here long. She hasn't been working here for more than a month. Okay, so that's the form. So one of the big uses of the present perfect continuous is about a temporary activity. So remember the continuous tense, like the present continuous, has this feeling of temporary. So temporary activities that are happening in the past, but still today or recently, we often say, what have you been doing recently? What have you been doing? What have you been doing lately? That's nice, isn't it? Instead of what have you been doing? What have you been doing? What have you been doing? Nice chunk, right? What have you been doing recently? Well, I've been decorating my house. I've been busy helping my daughter with her homework. I've been learning how to paint, right? Temporary activities or new activities that started in the past but continue now, today. Some more examples. I've been working late a lot recently, so I feel tired. I've been eating out a lot lately. Now that we can go out at last, I've been making the most of it and I've been eating out a lot. I've been catching up with friends. I've been catching up with friends, right? The chunking is nice. I've been eating out a lot. I've been catching up with friends. Great. Good. I've been watching a lot of TV. What about you? What have you been up to recently? What have you been doing lately? Excellent. Very, very good, right? So these are temporary activities. Next. So maybe you can see how these might fit in with some IELTS questions. I mean, often we get questions like, what would you like to change about your work? Well, I've been working a lot lately, and I've been doing a lot of overtime, so I would like to work less, right? What would you like to change about your diet? Well, I've been eating out a lot lately, so I would like to eat at home and cook more at home, have more home-cooked food. What would you like to change about your free time? Well, I've been watching too much TV lately, so I would like to do more sport. So we can see this is a nice tense to use to talk about temporary activities, because the question about change suggests something temporary, right? If you want to make a change, often there's a temporary situation and you want to make a change. I've been working late, so I'm going to change that and work less, hopefully. Next bit. The present perfect continuous also has this present result use, similar to the present perfect, right? So we can say, for example, what has changed in this situation, or how has this impacted us? So we could say, right, the government has been making a lot of mistakes lately. So similarly, before we said the government has made a lot of mistakes. We can see the government has made a lot of mistakes. So what's the difference? Well, the government has been making a lot of mistakes. The emphasis is more on the action, the making of the mistakes. The government has made 3 mistakes. The emphasis is on the completed action and sometimes the number, right? The government has made 3 U-turns, right? You can't say the government has been making 3 U-turns. No, the government has made 3 U-turns. So you're emphasizing the completed action. Whereas the government has been making mistakes, you're emphasizing the action, the ongoing action of making mistakes, right? Similarly, thinking about numbers, right? I've been reading a lot of books lately. I have read 3 books lately. So I have read is for the completed number of books, but the action, I've been reading a lot of books lately. Great. So we can use this also for the present result. Brilliant. So that was a whistle-stop tour of the 4 tenses in the present, right? Present simple, present continuous, present perfect continuous. Holy moly. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Have enjoyed present perfect, present result. Result is you're happy. I have enjoyed the video. A word of warning though, right? Most students will take 6 to 9 months or more to learn these tenses. And you've just done it in less than 30 minutes, I think. So the point is, and I'm going to be really honest with you, is by watching this video, you have not learnt the tenses. You've seen them and you've got to know them, become a little bit more familiar with them, but you really need to make friends with them. You need to go out and have a drink and have a meal and celebrate the birthdays of these tenses to get to know them really well. So I suggest that you go back, you take the individual uses like habits, temporary states, annoying habits, and just practice making some sentences. And then slowly start practicing them with a friend or a speaking partner or a teacher, and start using them. And remember, it's partly about the rule, the grammar rule, but it's also about the meaning, creating the meaning that you want. That's really important. Okay. Great. I hope this has helped you and clarified a little bit about these tenses. Keep practicing, keep going. If you have liked this video, give it a thumbs up, give me a comment below, subscribe, turn on notifications, and keep following this series. Look out for the next videos on grammar. Okay. Thank you very much for watching. Take care now. Bye bye.